Most people think they need more willpower to lose weight. It's just not true. You don't need more motivation. You need to stop eating the foods that are secretly packing in hundreds of calories, all while not filling you up. So these 5 easy food swaps can cut thousands of calories from your week, and they can actually help your body burn fat instead of storing it. Each one is broken into levels from just get started to best of the best. So whether you're brand new to this approach and to try to upgrade your quality, or you're already eating super clean, you'll know exactly what to do next to level up. So, all right. So here's how this works. I've broken food down into 4 simple categories. The first is avoid, stuff that just shouldn't be eaten, or as minimal as possible. You can still be a human being, but ideally we avoid it. Next is approved, and that means you can have it, but there's probably a better version for you. And so that leads us to category 3 of better. This is for multiple reasons, a better choice. And then there's always like those striving for more best choice. Anything on the other side of avoid, you're going the right direction, but based on your health goals and your specific needs or sensitivities, you adjust accordingly. If it's in the avoid category, it means it's blocking fat loss, stressing your liver. I'm very big on losing weight through the health of your liver and making weight gain way more likely for you. So those are the foods that we want to cut first. The approved category, the foods are cleaner, but they're maybe not necessarily helping you lose fat, optimizing weight loss. They don't do damage unless they're overdone, but they won't necessarily move you forward either. In the better category, category 3, these choices start giving your body some support. More fiber, more nutrients, fewer blood sugar spikes. They help ease your system back into balance. And then in the best category, category 4, this is where your body starts working with you. You stop storing fat, you start burning it, you feel better while doing it. Here's the best part. You don't have to be perfect. Progress over perfection. You just need to keep moving up the ladder over time. And if you're in the red, eating a lot of the avoid foods, move to yellow, which is approved. If you're in the yellow, aim for green, which would be better, or go all the way to blue, which is the best. Every time you upgrade your food, you upgrade your results. So food swap number 1, sweeteners. Start here. Most people trying to eat clean start with one simple switch. They cut out the sugar and the carbohydrates, which I completely agree with. It is the first letter in my crap food analogy, which is processed carbohydrates and sugars. What they swap the sugar with can be just as damaging, especially if your goal is to burn fat. So in the avoid category, sweeteners that do the most damage to your metabolism, start with high fructose corn syrup. Fructose can only be broken down in your liver. That doesn't make all fructose the complete enemy, but high fructose corn syrup goes straight to the liver and is driving the explosion of fatty liver all across the world. It overloads the system and ends up getting stored as fat. One of the fastest ways to block fat burning, especially around your belly, is to consume too much high fructose corn syrup. The next sweetener and target on the list is sucralose and aspartame. Found in a lot of diet sodas, found in a lot of sugar-free snacks or protein bars. If you have not watched my video on the #1 most dangerous health food ingredient, I will put the link in the description for you here. Go check that video out. These artificial sweeteners don't have calories, but they confuse your hunger hormones. They still end up triggering insulin, which is what is going to directly lead to weight gain, even though there's not sugar in the system. They also lead to a disruption in your gut health, which is crucial for fat burning, also for appetite control, to shut down the craving mechanism in your brain. So dig into that video if you want to learn more about those, but those got to go. We do not replace the sugars with artificial sweeteners. Agave nectar is next. It gets marketed as healthy, but in some ways it's worse. The reason for this is because agave nectar is 90% fructose. We just said, where is fructose processed? Where's the only factory that it can be broken down? The liver. And since our livers are so overwhelmed already, when it comes to agave nectar, I'm out. It's one of the most high sweeteners in fructose, and it even sometimes goes higher than high fructose corn syrup. So sends your liver straight into fat storage mode. So if the sweetener is artificial, if it's processed, or it's heavily marketed as zero sugar, it belongs in the avoid category, especially if fat loss is your goal. Now, approved. Let's go to our out of the red into the yellow. Okay. These sweeteners come from natural sources. Okay. They don't contain chemicals. However, they will still spike your blood sugar levels. So if we're just looking through the lens of weight loss alone, raw honey and maple syrup fall here. Now, I love their nutrient content. I would also put molasses in here, blackstrap molasses. They have lots of nutrients. If it's raw local honey, if it's organic maple syrup, then we're getting a lot of nutrients. But if you're trying to lose weight, these sugars will spike insulin. And so they will lead to fat storage instead of fat burning. So it's not that you can never have these. I do like these. We use them in baking quite a bit. But if you're trying to lose weight, they're way less refined. They do contain trace minerals, but at the end of the day, they're still sugar. If your body's in fat burning mode, these will shut that down. So once your metabolism is healthy and you're maintaining a healthy weight, you hit your goals, a little raw honey now and then, it's perfectly fine. Cooking with some maple syrup, but if you're still trying to lose the weight, not yet. So out of the yellow into the green, better, best. In this category, this is where the sweet works with your body, not against your body. So this is where I love alternative natural sweeteners like monk fruit. It's been used for centuries. The sweetness comes from the malgrosides that are in it, in the fruit, not from the sugar. So it does not have that significant impact on insulin, and it also doesn't trigger the cravings. 0 calories that your body reacts to. And so that's why it's one of my top choices if it's organic. The second one is stevia. Stevia is 100 times sweeter than sugar. I love that it comes from a plant, but you only need a little bit. And it doesn't disrupt that fat burning mode nearly as much. Just make sure it's pure stevia, not mixed with sugar alcohols or other fillers like sugar. They often add it to it. They slip it in there. So these sweeteners aren't just better metabolically, they last longer as well. So just a single bag of one of those two can last you months. You can keep packets in your car, in your bag, in your desk, so they're easily accessible. You're never stuck reaching for Splenda, sucralose, aspartame, those type of things again. Okay. So that's where we kind of move up the list and get into that better, best category. Let's go to food swap number 2, fruits. Fruit is one of the most misunderstood food groups when it comes to fat loss. It is natural, it is colorful. We've been told our whole lives it's super healthy, but not all fruit supports weight loss in the way that we would like. Some of it can actually stall out your results, especially if your liver is already overwhelmed, because what is fruit high in? Fructose. And where is fructose manufactured and broken down? In the liver. Again, the liver unlocks your weight loss capabilities. Overburdening it shuts down the fat reduction machine. So let's focus on the high fructose fruits first. The ones that people eat without even thinking about it. They were always prevalent growing up as a kid. It's not that my kids don't eat them, but adults beware bananas. They're everywhere and they're really easy to grab. But they hit your liver with a big rush of sugar, almost as much as a donut. Grapes are number 2. Just a couple of handfuls of grapes gives you 20 to 30 grams of sugar. And there's almost no fiber, very little to go along with that, to really slow down the impact of the sugar. Dried fruit is the next one. Just 5 dates have more sugar than a can of Coke. So people eat them straight up thinking they're healthy, but they're concentrated sugars. Now, I'm not saying to never eat those 3 ever again: grapes, bananas, dates in the, to make a dessert dish. Does Dr. Livingood ever have a banana or some grapes? Yes. I'm saying if you are in this mode where you're trying to burn fat, these will take you the opposite direction. Are there nutrients with them? Yes. But are there other things we should be focused on and eating? That's why if you're in that mode, I would avoid those until you hit goals. Fruit juice is the second part of this. Takes 3 to 4 whole oranges to make 1 glass of juice. I bet most of us can't sit down and eat 3 to 4 whole oranges. Why? The fiber would fill us up, our hunger mechanism would shut off, and we'd maybe only eat 1 or 2. It's a direct hit of fructose without the fiber, and it's going straight to the liver to be stored. So these fruits are nutrient rich, for sure. But during fat loss, they flood the liver with sugar. They flip the body into fat storage mode, okay? Now let's slide into while you're trying to lose weight, avoid those high sugar fruits. Approved fruits that are lower in sugar and have less of an insulin spike effect. They need to be used strategically though, okay? My first one is a kiwi. 1 kiwi can give you over 80% of your daily vitamin C. Also gives you nearly as much potassium as a banana. It supports digestion, but it doesn't have the big sugar spike like a banana. I don't think it should be overdone, but they are good fat supporting foods if you need something sweet. I'm gonna throw tomatoes in here, right? We oftentimes look at it as a vegetable, but it is a fruit. It's rich in lycopene. It's an antioxidant that supports liver health, so I love that. It reduces oxidative stress, which improves how your body metabolizes fat. You will want to be careful if you're really getting strict not to completely overdo tomatoes because they will have an impact on insulin, but they're in the much safer realm compared to some of the fruits that we previously talked about. Grapefruit also lands here. Contains compounds that help improve insulin sensitivity, fat metabolism. Just be sure to check your medications. It can interact with some of them, but I do love grapefruit for fat burning mode. That is an approved one. Now, even better than that, to suffice the fruit craving, next in the better category are green apples, okay? The Granny Smiths, low in fructose, high in fiber. Compared to the red ones, I love the red ones. I'm not saying you never eat a red apple again, but in weight loss mode, lean towards the green. They're rich in pectin. That's a special fiber that supports gut health, the microbiome, also supports your metabolism. Also in the better category, we have lemons and limes. These could exist in the better and the best category because these fruits your liver loves. Some of the reasons these are so good for your waistline is because they're extremely low in sugar, they're extremely high in nutrients, minerals, and vitamins. They stimulate blood flow, which helps you break down fat and clear it out of your body. They have a natural diuretic effect that helps with water retention. That's going to move the scale. Also with bloating. And like I said, they're packed with nutrients, but it's specifically antioxidants. Those protect the liver and they support that fat metabolism. Now, for the very best, if you had to pick a fruit for fat burning, fruits that actually support and drive fat burning in the body while keeping blood sugar stable, berries. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. They are low glycemic, high fiber, loaded with antioxidants. Blueberries in particular. Blueberries are one of the ones that have been studied, and they've been shown to increase fat loss during exercise. In fact, one study showed that people who ate wild blueberries burned up to 43% more fat during workouts. Gotta love that when a food is really aiding you in moving the scale. The second one, which I had, avocados. Technically a fruit, okay? One of the best you can eat. High in healthy fats. You need healthy fat to burn fat. It's like stimulating the fuel source. It's low in carbohydrates. There's more potassium in an avocado than in a banana. They help you stay full longer. This is one of the most satiety building foods. Instead of doing injections of GLP-1s and Ozempic, focusing on avocados, little salt, little pepper on top of a salad, throw them in a smoothie. You naturally eat fewer calories by consuming that food. So yes, fruit can absolutely be a part of the fat loss plan, but it has to be the right kind in the right amount at the right time. You can make those swaps. Food swap number 3, grains and carbs. Carbohydrates aren't the problem, but the type you're eating absolutely matters. You do need carbohydrates to live as a human being. I believe this. I think that we tend to lean this way as human beings, but because some support your metabolism, those carbohydrates, while others flood your system with sugar, spike insulin, and lock your body into fat storage mode, we got to understand the right ones, okay? So the avoid category, we've got grains that act like sugar, literally within 4 seconds of hitting your mouth. They're already into your bloodstream being absorbed. This is our white bread. one of the worst offenders. It digests super fast, it has no fiber, and it causes a very sharp insulin spike. You are instantly out of fat burning mode when that happens. This also goes for pastas, crackers, and boxed cereals, especially the ones that are maybe an enriched flour, a white flour, one that isn't the organic whole fiber grain. Even the ones that look healthy on the outside, they still spike blood sugar because they're made from refined grains, which means we strip out the fiber that balances that insulin spike. Their outer layer, which is the fiber and the nutrients, gets pulled away, and all you're left with is a fast digestion starch that gets broken down in the mouth within 4 seconds. It behaves just like straight up glucose, sugar. To make things worse, they don't fill you up. Have you ever done this? Eat a bowl of cereal at 7 a.m. and you're hungry again by 9:30. That was my childhood. Right? So what can we eat? Okay, let's move into the approved category for carbohydrates. You guys love this one, right? These carbs are less refined and they digest a little bit slower and they do have fiber, but they can still work against fat loss if you're not careful on how you consume them and how much you consume. So this is where we start to see whole wheat bread. This is where we start to see sourdough bread. This is where we start to see those types of grains. They're way better than white, but only if the fiber is truly intact and then they don't contain other chemicals along with it. So a lot of labels say whole grain, but it doesn't mean the product behaves like a whole food. Whole grain wheat altogether is what I want to see. So it's or a sprouted form of the grain, to make sure that you get all the fiber and all the nutrients with it. That's what counteracts the sugar spike. But be careful, because overeating these will throw you into fat storage mode. Brown rice and oats, more fiber than the white rice and the instant oats. However, they still raise your blood sugar noticeably. So we've got to be careful not to overdo them, but they are more an approved category, especially when goals are hit. Watch out on the labels. Just saying multigrain often means refined flour with a sprinkle of seeds, like they just blend and stuff together, sugar spikes. Made with whole wheat means it could still be 90% white flour, but we made it with some whole wheat. That's a very tricky one. The foods sound healthy, but they still spike insulin and they stall fat loss. So let's go to the yellow and above. In the better category, we've got grains and starches that digest slow, offer more fiber, and then give your body real nutritional support. This is where sprouted grain bread comes in. Made from grains that have begun to sprout. That process lowers the glycemic index, it improves digestibility, and it increases the nutrient content of that food. Ezekiel bread is a good example of this, okay? If you make your sourdough from that type of flour, then that's up in that category. Chickpeas, lentil-based pastas and noodles. That's normally what we reach for. We've even now got pizza crusts that are made from those chickpeas or bean-based. Much better because they're higher in protein, they're higher in fiber, way more so than traditional pasta. So they help stabilize blood sugar and they keep you full a lot longer. Now, an important note about gluten-free products. Many of these that say gluten-free, we assume are healthy on the front. Well, it's gluten-free, doc. I'm like, that doesn't mean it's low sugar. A lot of them are made with potato starch, a tapioca potentially, but more so probably just corn maltodextrin, or they're just using white rice flour. So those spike that blood sugar level just like refined wheat bread would. So gluten-free doesn't automatically mean that it's fat loss friendly. Now, the best, we go all the way up. That's where you can really use these plants instead of grains. What I mean by this is cauliflower rice. It's very low carb. It's very high fiber. It's extremely versatile. You start looking at slaws that are great for stir fries, like a broccoli slaw or carrots. Really good in stir fries, really good in salads, really good base for a bowl. And you still have that rice-ish, pasta-ish kind of feel with the dish. Other solid options include zucchini noodles. If you've never tried them, don't knock them. Spaghetti squash is a really good option. Roasted Brussels sprouts can just give some of that texture for some of those carbohydrate-rich bowls and mixes that we like. So these types of carbs regulate blood sugar. They reduce your cravings. That's the key with these. So they support fat metabolism. And then finally, I would add in those beans and legumes, especially black beans loaded with magnesium, really help to fill you up. Lentils, chickpeas, very slow digestion, very high in fiber, nutrient dense, and they also support gut health, which plays a major role in your fat storage versus fat burning mode. a major role in your hormones, also in your inflammation. They're super affordable as well. Like a bag of lentils costs just a few dollars and can last you multiple meals. Frozen cauliflower rice, super cheap. It's easy to prep and it can be ready in 5 minutes. Just make sure there's no rancid oils in there. So you don't have to cut all the carbohydrates to lose weight because those foods, beans and cauliflower rice and vegetables, have carbohydrates, but they have lots of fiber. That's the difference. So if you want to lose fat, you don't have to cut carbs altogether. You just need to choose the ones that work with your body instead of against it. Food swap number 4, fats and oils. The fats you eat don't just fuel your body, they become your body. Your cells are built with fat. Every single cell, trillions of them. When you use the wrong fats and oils, you are building weak, unstable cells that don't burn fat the way that we're supposed to. So the ones to avoid, some of the worst offenders, fall right into this category. These fats don't just slow you down, they actively block fat loss. So why they're so harmful is because when the cell is congested and made with a bad rancid fat, they create inflammation, they damage your cells, and they keep your metabolism running slow. Even if everything else in your diet is clean, this one can get you faster than sugar can get you. The main culprit here is linoleic acid. It is a type of omega-6 fat that your body was never meant to process in large amounts. You need healthy, clean amounts, 1 to 2% of your fats on a daily basis. It's used so much, though, now in our food supply. It now makes up at least 6 to 10%, and some studies show up to 20% of an average American's calories in a day. Now, why this matters for fat loss is because linoleic acid gets stored in your fat tissue. It gets stored in your liver and even in your cell membranes, and it doesn't clear out quickly. It can stay in your system for up to 6 years. Sugar burns up fast. So at least if you mess up there, you recover fairly quickly. But the wrong fats has a long-term price to pay. Now, while it's in your cells and it's being stored, it slows down fat burning and it increases your inflammation levels. So the oils highest in linoleic acid and the ones to absolutely avoid are safflower oil, that's at 70%, grapeseed oil is at 70%, sunflower oil is at 68%, unless it says high oleic sunflower oil. Otherwise, it is high. Corn oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil, that's at 19%. But soybean oil is at 51%. These are the ones that have to go. Super high still with canola oil. It is incredibly highly processed. So they're just cheap oils. They're flavorless and they're used in about everything. That's why they're used so much. Salad dressings, sauces, protein bars, frozen meals, restaurants, foods. At the restaurants, it gets even worse because the oils are heated to fry things and they're reused over and over, making them even more toxic. The oxidation and the congestion and the inflammation those oils cause increase every time they're reheated. So if you're still cooking with these oils, if you're still eating out often, this is the first change of all the food swaps to make. It'll make the biggest difference on the number of calories and the quality of calories that you're putting into your body. Let's go to the approved side of things. These oils are often less inflammatory. They're a lot more stable, but they still might not be ideal during the fat loss period of time, but you can start getting away with these. I mentioned high oleic sunflower oil has a lot less linoleic acid. Usually it's only 10% linoleic acid, so high oleic sunflower oil would be okay. It's more stable under heat that way, so it's better than the standard seed oils that we just talked about, but not something necessarily I would rely on daily if you had to. Okay, sesame oil does have some antioxidant properties, does have good flavor, but it's about 42% linoleic acid. So it'd be fine in small amounts if you need it in a dish, but just not great for regular use. Okay, now remember, cold pressed, organic, or non-GMO doesn't fix the problem. Organic canola oil is still linoleic acid oil. Organic soybean oil is still one of the highest sources of linoleic acid. Okay, so just keep in mind, just because it has that in front of it doesn't mean the oil is actually healthy yet. But let's move to the better category. Okay, these oils start supporting your metabolism. Olive oil. It's usually only 10% linoleic acid. Quality of it matters. Some bottles are much higher because they're blended. So when I buy olive oil, I like to get a single source, not something that's sourced from multiple locations, okay? Single source. Go with cold press. Go with organic if you can, and make sure it's extra virgin. The cold press means they didn't use heat to create it. If you heat olive oil too hot, you can denature it and oxidize it, making it and turning it into a bad fat. When heating it at home, use it on lower heats or use it just for your salad dressings. Next up is avocado oil. It's around 10% linoleic acid, so much, much, much lower. It is very stable at higher temperatures, better even than olive oil. It's great for roasting, especially vegetables, sauteing, stir frying. We use avocado oil a lot. Coconut oil is next. It's only 2% linoleic acid. It's very rich in MCTs, medium chain triglycerides, fats that your body uses for quick energy. Instead of storing them as fat, they get used up quickly. So that's why I like that oil of you're not what you eat, you're what you absorb and what you burn up and what you use. Coconut oil can get used very easily. Excellent for baking, excellent for frying, especially in a pan. Now that brings us to the best category. These are the fats that support fat loss the most, according to the research. They support hormonal balance and they support cellular health. These are your animal fats: butter, ghee, tallow, duck fat, lard, especially from grass-fed or pasture-raised sources. They are extremely low in linoleic acid. Remember how we said earlier, our diet should be 1 to 2% linoleic acid or healthy omega-6s. These types of fats are only 1 to 2% linoleic acid. That exact same ratio. That's how you know exactly where you need to be. They're stable under heat. They're rich in fat-soluble vitamins, which we are traditionally very under-nurtured in. They're highly satisfying. They fill you up. You eat less. Butter and ghee also contain butyrate. This is a short-chain fat that supports gut health. It reduces inflammation and it stabilizes blood sugar. Butyrate is studied in weight loss studies to enhance the weight loss mechanism. Getting it from butter and ghee is an excellent way to take it in. If you're sensitive to dairy, ghee is probably a better option. It's a reduced form. The milk solids have been removed, so people that are lactose intolerant or have a sensitivity typically aren't. So you can still get that good healthy fat without having to cut it out. The goal isn't to avoid fat. It's to eat the right kinds of fat, the ones that your body can actually use to build better, stronger fat burning cells. Let's go to the last one. Food swap number 5 to eliminate thousands of calories from your week: beverages. These are one of the easiest ways to sabotage your fat loss, getting too many calories from what you drink. They don't fill you up. They still flood your system with sugar or other chemical sweeteners or other chemicals in general. And since most people don't count what they drink, these are the hidden calories. These are the hormone blockers that they get slipped by and sabotage us all day long. So the avoid category, we start with one of the most common offenders: soda, regular soda, pure liquid sugar. One can hits your body with over 9 teaspoons of sugar all at once. Some people are drinking multiple of these a day. Diet soda sounds better, but might even be worse. It's calorie-free, yes, but the artificial sweeteners like sucralose and aspartame still trigger the insulin response. And then your body reacts like sugar's coming, even when it's not. And so when it reacts, insulin spikes, and then it puts you into fat storage mode. And over time, people that drink diet soda crave more food, so they end up gaining more abdominal fat instead of less. It's not just soda either. Flavored waters, I see a lot of toxic ones that I get posted about all the time in the groups. Is this okay? Is this approved? Energy drinks, it is shocking to me that all the top energy drinks on the market are full of these artificial sweeteners and toxic vitamins, synthetic forms. Sweetened teas, they'll sneak up on you. Even the ones labeled 0 sugar, still using the artificial sweeteners, these things have to be cut out during that time. They confuse your hunger systems. They confuse your fullness signals. So if it tastes sweet and it came from a bottle and it clearly isn't clean, there's a good chance that you're stalling your fat loss right there. So let's move to the approved category. Okay, get in the yellow. These drinks don't do damage, but they also don't help your body burn fat, okay? This is when we start to look at things like an almond milk or coconut milk. They're not doing damage, especially when they're unsweetened, right? but they're not necessarily putting you into fat burning mode. I love using them, especially coconut starts to put you a little bit more in that fat burning mode. Very useful in smoothies or coffees or just as milk alternatives, okay? Just make sure and check for the additives, okay? This is the general ones off the shelf. There's absolutely approved versions of almond milk and coconut milk, but they slip a lot of things in there and you'll get a vanilla flavor. They get sweetened. And then things like seed oils end up in there. Soybean oil is in your coconut milk or almond milk. You really got to watch those labels, and they can also irritate the gut. So just quality is going to matter there to get it up into the better best category. But I put that one lower just for that reason. We also got to watch out for herbal teas, peppermints and chamomiles and rubios. They're great for digestion. They're great for hydration. There usually is no insulin spike, no sugar or no sweeteners. Just watch out to make sure none of that has been added if you're drinking a lot of tea, okay? Plain sparkling water, I love this. It's just a safe choice. If it's truly unsweetened, if it's truly unflavored, I like to just have it unflavored. I'll squeeze my own lemons and limes in there. That starts to put that into a better or best category, okay? Be careful of natural flavors. I like to trust the companies that are making them. I do like to see things like non-GMO, like gluten-free. If natural flavors are going to be used, that tells me that they're paying attention to the quality. So let's move up into the better category. Remember, we're trying to focus on things that really help enhance fat loss, not take it away. It's nothing wrong with the drinks that I just mentioned. Fantastic. You can have quite a bit of them. Just make sure they're quality. But when we really start to optimize burning fat, according to the research, green tea shows up, right? There's a difference between those other drinks and this. They contain catechins, compounds that boost fat oxidation, break down fat. They support metabolism. They support the liver health. So that's why I like it as a better option to help burn fat if you're going to drink something. Black coffee. Black coffee boosts thermogenesis. That's your body's ability to burn more calories by generating heat. That's why you get a little warm after having some coffee, right? After having some cups. But it only works if you drink it clean. So skip the sugar. I don't have any sugar in my coffee, okay? Flavored creamers, all the syrups that we add in, even if it's the skinny or light syrup, those turn this fat burning drink into a dessert. A lot of the things at the major coffee shops are desserts, not regular coffees. You can add a little cream to there, that's fine. But if we move all the way to the best category, these are the drinks that actively support fat loss on multiple levels. Topping the list is lemon water. It supports bile production, it helps the liver flush out toxins, and it primes your metabolism to start burning fat really early in the day. So I like to drink it first thing in the morning. You could do cold, you could do warm. You know, there is a little bit of research that colder liquids require more calories to heat them up to balance the body out, okay? But whatever way you prefer it or like it, and you can have that early in the day. Kickstart your weight loss journey. I like bone broth a lot. It's rich in collagen. That's going to help really support the gut, the lining of the gut, sealing it back up, allowing toxins to stay out of the bloodstream, allowing nutrients to get into the bloodstream. It's a big part of overall weight loss goals. It helps reduce cravings. So very rich in collagen. It's low in carbs, it's high in protein, so it's very filling, but it's not spiking insulin levels. Along those same lines, I like collagen coffee. It's a powerful upgrade, blending coffee with a scoop of collagen. It's got a small amount of healthy fats, right? We're going to be getting a big dose of protein, which is going to help us feel more full and allow you to just maybe not have solid foods for breakfast. Kind of just skip right over that. You can add in healthy fats to it, like coconut oil or the grass-fed butter or the ghee. It's going to help enhance your metabolism, and it helps to create steady energy, and it helps to create steady appetite control without disrupting that fat burning mode. And then we have detox teas. Adding in teas that have a detoxing effect can really help that liver out, which when the liver heals, weight starts getting released. Step one to losing that kind of weight that's stuck. So dandelion teas, milk thistle, or just taking milk thistle as an herb. Licorice root. These are good ones that support liver function. They also support the bile and the breakdown of fats. They're critical for metabolism and also eliminating the fat as the metabolism burns it up. The best part of these is they don't cost very much, less than $1 a serving, and they can be used consistently. Makes a real difference in how your body holds onto, or like I said, releases that fat by supporting the liver. Lemon waters, the teas, the collagen coffee, these are great additions. Can really trim down the bad calories and the sabotagers and get you moving the right direction. So if you're ready to do more than just clean up your food, you want to actually start dropping weight, this is where things really start to get exciting. Use the avoid list, start there, start tapping into some approved foods Work your way up. There's always another level. You can always make progress. You just get a little bit better than you were yesterday. 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%. It's a little upgrade. Hit the upgrade button on your phone, right? It's like upgrading your iOS, your just operating system of how you operate with your health, how you operate with your food. Just get a little bit better. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be like the person next to you. You just need to make progress for you, okay? Now, as a next step, I'm going to walk you through 7 simple habits that I'd follow if I needed to lose 30 pounds fast, starting right now. This year, I need to lose 30 pounds. What would I do? They're not complicated. You don't need a gym. They're probably not what you've been told to do, okay? But they work. I've seen them help thousands and thousands of people to get real long-lasting results. It is a viral training that's helping thousands and thousands more. So I'll include a link to that video right here for you. Just click and you can watch that next, and I'll see you over there.